the strength of China's industry has already exceeded the imagination of the whole world. In human history, the strongest industrial nation has already taken shape. Many people living domestically cannot clearly see the full picture of the world. But in the eyes of many foreigners, the only ones who can be compared with us might be the trisolarians. Take, for example, something everyone knows: the Russia-Ukraine situation. Since the war began in 2022 until now, the US and Europe have been aiding Ukraine. They have provided Ukraine with large amounts of shells to prop up the battlefield situation. We have called for peace many times, but were ignored by them. So we secretly did two things. The first thing was that we suspended our export of urea to South Korea. Why target South Korea with this action? Because the Americans actually didn't have surplus shells to aid Ukraine, so they turned to South Korea to buy them and asked South Korea to help produce large amounts of shells. But as everyone knows, producing shells requires raw materials. One important material among them is synthetic ammonia. And ammonia is what we commonly call fertilizer. So when South Korea used synthetic ammonia to produce large amounts of shells, it inevitably led to a reduction in fertilizer urea production. And when fertilizer production decreases, it will inevitably lead to reduced food production in South Korea. So in order to solve this problem, the South Koreans decided to buy industrial urea from us to solve the problem of reduced food production. But at the end of last year, we suddenly announced the suspension of urea exports to South Korea. This change directly choked South Korea's lifeline, making them unable to provide the US with more shells, indirectly affecting the Russia-Ukraine battlefield. Besides the first thing, we also did a second thing. That was a few months ago, we stopped exporting nitrocellulose to Europe. And everyone knows what nitrocellulose is. Without it, there is no gunpowder. And without gunpowder, there are no shells. This instantly caused the Europeans to also have no shells to aid Ukraine. We simply did two small things, which directly and indirectly reduced the military-industrial capacity of the US and Europe. Think about how terrifying this capability is. It's not even an exaggeration to say, as long as we don't agree, a world war simply cannot be fought. Because many military raw materials and important components, the whole world relies on us to produce. I know that saying this, many people will be unconvinced. That's fine. We'll speak directly with facts. According to International Organization statistics, by 2023, China's total manufacturing output value accounted for 35% of the world. Unsurprisingly, ranking number 1 in the world. And this number 1 is even more than the sum of second place to 10th place combined. Even more frightening is that China's power generation and steel production, the world hegemon, the United States, in power generation has only half of ours. India, the world's most populous country, in steel production has only 1/7 of ours. The amount of steel we produce in 1 year as a country accounts for 54% of the global total. That is to say, even if you add up all other countries in the world, with more than 6 billion people, their steel output still cannot match ours. I know some people will definitely say again, what's the significance of these things? In high-end fields, aren't we still behind others? But is that really the case? According to International Organization's PUC statistics, in 2023, more than 80% of the world's smartphones, televisions, game consoles, and other electronic products all came from production in China. In 2023, China's automobile production ranked first in the world. The number of cars we produce in 1 year is more than traditional automobile powers Germany, Japan, and the United States combined. In 2023, global ship production reached a total of 35 million tons, half of which came from Chinese shipyards. China is the only country in the world capable of independently building LNG carriers and cruise ships among various types of vessels. Others, even the world hegemon, the United States, need to join orders just to build a ship. What's even more frightening is that even in the chip industry under constant sanctions, China's production capacity has reached 24% of the global total. firmly holding the #1 position in the world. And this is not even the most shocking part. What truly stunned the West was that the US launched a trade war for a full 6 years, leading its various allies to encircle and block us. But the result? According to data from the Statistics Bureau, in the first half of 2024, our trade surplus reached as high as $435 billion US. Our import and export volume reached 21 trillion yuan, both hitting record highs. The West's plan to suppress our foreign trade basically declared bankruptcy. The reason such things happened is because now the whole world still heavily depends on our industrial capacity. For World Cup and European Cup merchandise, they need Yiwu to produce them for us. For building cars, airplanes, and ships, they need us to provide the core components. Even to fight a war, they need us to provide the raw materials. Let me speak from the heart. We should be grateful that China is a peace-loving and highly cohesive nation. Otherwise, such historic-level industrial capacity, if placed in the hands of any other country, would probably be a huge disaster for the whole world.